I've been traveling through Asia for years, from the shimmering lights of Tokyo to the ancient temples of Angkor Wat. From sipping tea in the quiet hills of Sri Lanka to riding bullet trains in Japan at 300 kilometers an hour, I've seen the chaos of Bangkok's night markets, the discipline of Singapore's streets, and the mesmerizing calm of Bali's rice terraces. I thought I had Asia figured out. I thought I'd seen it all, and then I went to the Philippines. At first it wasn't even on my list. I had planned my route through countries that every traveler talks about. The big names, the Instagram darlings, the must-sees. The Philippines? I thought of it as just beaches and typhoons, but I was wrong, so wrong. I landed in Manila on a humid afternoon. The air was thick and smelled faintly of fried garlic and something sweet I couldn't quite name. The airport was busy but not overwhelming. A mix of families, workers, and smiling staff saying, "Welcome, sir," like they actually meant it. I had been greeted politely in other countries, but here, there was something in the tone. Like I wasn't just a customer, like I mattered. I've been to parts of Asia where speaking English is a challenge, where conversations are limited to pointing at menus or using translation apps. But in the Philippines, people spoke to me in clear, fluent English, often with better grammar than I had. It wasn't just the language, it was the ease. Conversations flowed naturally, jokes landed, sarcasm worked, and because of that, I felt an instant connection. In most of Asia, there's a polite distance between traveler and local. In the Philippines, it felt like meeting cousins I didn't know I had. I'd read about Filipino hospitality before coming, but reading about it and experiencing it are two very different things. On my second day, I was buying bottled water at a tiny sari-sari store. I reached for my wallet, but the elderly woman behind the counter just waved her hand and said, "First time in the barangay? Welcome, this one's free." That had never happened to me in all my travels. Not in Japan, not in Thailand, not anywhere. Later, when I got caught in an afternoon downpour, the kind that soaks you in seconds, a tricycle driver pulled over, lifted the tarp and said, "Get in before you melt." No charge, just kindness. Most people imagine the Philippines as pure vacation mode. White sand beaches, turquoise waters, cocktails at sunset, and yes, those things exist. But what shocked me was how life continues in these places beyond tourism. On one island, I stayed in a small homestay where the family woke up at 4 a.m. to fish, farm, and prepare food. Not for tourists, but for themselves and the community. By 8 a.m. the kids were in school, the parents were laughing with neighbors, and the day felt alive. Not manufactured, not for show. It wasn't a staged cultural experience, it was just life. Before I came, I didn't expect much from Filipino food. I'd been spoiled by Thailand's street food, Japan's sushi, and Vietnam's pho. But then came adobo. Slow-cooked chicken in soy sauce, vinegar, garlic, and love. Then sinigang, a sour tamarind soup that felt like a warm hug. And halo, a dessert that looks chaotic, but somehow works perfectly. The thing about Filipino food is that it's not trying to be fancy. It's about making you feel at home, whether you've been there for a day or a decade. I've been in places where people hide their struggles from visitors. But in the Philippines, people don't pretend life is perfect. And that honesty makes their resilience even more powerful. I met families who had lost their homes to typhoons but still sang karaoke that same night. I met workers who left for 12-hour shifts and came home to take care of siblings or grandparents without complaint. There's a strength here that's quiet but unshakable. In other parts of Asia, modernization has pulled communities apart. In the Philippines, even in the cities, the sense of togetherness is strong. Neighbors share meals, kids play outside in groups. When someone gets sick, people show up, not just family but half the street. I've seen entire villages stop what they're doing to help rebuild a house after a storm, and they do it laughing, cooking, and singing while they work. In Tokyo, time feels like it's always running ahead of you. In Bangkok, it's chaotic, loud, and full of motion. In the Philippines, time slows down, but in the best way. Conversations last longer. Meals are unhurried. You can sit on a porch for hours and just watch the world go by. At first it felt strange. Then I realized it was what I'd been missing. The permission to just be. A lot of destinations compete for tourists with big, shiny attractions. The tallest building, the biggest mall, the fastest train. The Philippines doesn't need that. Its magic isn't in what it shows off, it's in how it makes you feel. And that feeling stays with you long after you leave. Yes, there are safe and unsafe areas just like anywhere, But what surprised me was the emotional safety. I never felt like I had to be on guard with people. I never felt judged for being a foreigner. I never felt like my presence was just a business transaction. There's a comfort in that you can't measure in guidebooks. On my last day, I was leaving a small fishing village where I'd stayed for a week. The family I stayed with walked me to the jeepney stop. The grandmother hugged me, the kids waved, and the father said, "Come back, you have a home here now." That hit me harder than I expected. I'd been to so many countries, met so many people, but this was the first time I left feeling like I was leaving family behind. I used to think Asia was all about the big contrasts. Tradition versus technology, ancient versus modern, chaos versus order. But the Philippines taught me something different. It's not just about the places you see, it's about the people who let you in, and here, they let you in completely. I can't tell you I've seen every part of the Philippines. It has over 7,000 islands and I've barely scratched the surface. But I can tell you this, it's not the beaches, the volcanoes, or the waterfalls that pull me back. It's the laughter I heard in the rain, the plate of food I didn't ask for but was given anyway, the simple words, "You have a home here now." That's not just hospitality, that's belonging. And belonging is rare in this world. If you've traveled across Asia and think you know it, think again. The Philippines will surprise you in ways you never expected. It won't just give you memories, it will give you a piece of itself, and that's something you'll carry for the rest of your life.